Henshin Inspection presents Going Ultra. This is MJ. I'm an author, I'm an artist, I'm an analyzer. Find all my work at mjmunoz.com. Prepare yourself for hard-hitting Ultraman discussion and analysis. Ultraman Arc Episode 19 was originally aired November 23rd, 2024. Yes, I remember that correctly. And it's entitled The Transcending Wish. And this is the conclusion to the Ultraman Blazar Ultraman Arc crossover connection. You know what that means. Yeah, I liked the episode a lot. It was a lot of fun. I would say that it was a very good conclusion to the crossover episode, mini-series, whatever you want to call it. And it was a lot of fun. It's kind of an interesting episode. It's almost melancholy. And it almost feels... I don't know, not inappropriate. It almost feels like it's not setting up the end game. I don't know if it's like wrapping up the A story or whatever to Arc, and then it's going to move on and they're going to get into the end game or what. But I don't know. It's just kind of interesting that they had one, a 4-episode crossover, and two, that it had the tone that it had. And it was really exciting to see Blazar here finally, because we hadn't seen Blazar at first. He was withheld. We got Earthgaron, and then finally we got Blazar here. And that's great. And, well, I guess that's not true. We started off with Earthgaron. Blazar showed up at the end of that last episode, I think. And then in this one, he wakes up in Hoshimoto City, and then he goes back. Okay, no. So, yeah. Earthgaron is here. Blazar's here. All in this episode, self-contained. Not in episode 18 at all, if I'm remembering correctly, which let me just double check that. Yeah, it doesn't look like there's any cooperation. So anyway, that's just kind of interesting, because we had, the Zongil connection, and I think that was a 2-episode deal. And then we have the trying to put the genie back in the bottle, trying to get rid of Helnarok. And then finally here it happens. And it's interesting. Like I said, it was a lot of fun. I'm a big proponent of Ultraman Blazar. In fact, after this episode is released, I will release my Blazar review, my Blazar series perspective, retrospective review, and then I'll get back into continuing with Arc, because it just struck me to do it that way. I already recorded the Blazar one. It's done. It's ready to go. It's in the can, as they say, and it's just ready for me to publish it. So anyway, but yeah, I like Ultraman Arc, but I like Ultraman Blazar a lot. By the end of Ultraman Blazar, we got this really strong family vibe, or team dynamic with all of Skard. In this episode, we get to see the Hoshi-Moto City, which is an alternate reality. I guess it's the Hoshimoto City that exists within Blazar's world, or, Gento's world. And we get to see kind of a tight-knit family type of dynamic, sort of, with the captain and Rin and Shu. And Yuma is also, there's a counterpart for Yuma in Blazar's world who works for Skard, or not Skard, he works for, I guess, the GDF or whatever. Anyway, he works in one of the groups that, everybody else from, well, at least Gento used to work in. And that's interesting. We get to see the larger world. We don't get to see the Skard group. We get to see the rest of the Defense Force doing what they do. Which is interesting, because we get to see a decent amount of them throughout Blazar, and we're seeing our Hoshimoto crew represented in this other world doing something similar. So they're very much like the same type of people doing similar things, helping. They're noble, they're heroic. We get to see those traits kind of cross over, and there's even a Yuma there who is a squad mate of Ishido. Interestingly, the little stupid detail: Ishido in Blazar's world doesn't like coffee. He prefers tea to coffee, which is hilarious given what we have with Shu Ishido here in Arc's world. So that was like a real nice, fun little tidbit. We got to see Bazanga again. I noticed that Helnarok has Gydos' head as like a pauldron almost on his left shoulder. Helnarok also has this very interesting, it's like a Blazar as a kaiju design where he's split down the middle, and has these different sides, and has this kind of effect here going. And then like it was, I don't know, it was just like it's an interesting subdued crossover. And like Blazar, he's as uncommunicative in this crossover as he is in his show, which is great that he stayed true. And the one interaction is he reaches out and grabs Arc's hand, and he transfers some of his, I don't know, his chaos energy. He transfers some of his chaos energy into him, and then he is later able to use the red and blue streaks, and he throws, what does he throw? I guess Arc has a sword. Yeah, he's sunglass slasher. Did they just grab that from Toei or what? Anyway, doesn't matter. He uses his own sunglass slasher thing as like a javelin, like Blazar's, javelin thing that he uses from the black hole in his hand. And like that was really cool, and we get to see them fighting kind of simultaneously. Blazar was fighting Bazanga while Arc was fighting Helnarch on his side of the rift. And there's like a real cool little moment where they, from Arc's side, they push Helnarch back through the rift because they don't really know it's there. And interestingly enough, the people in Blazar's world, Ishido, says that they're pretty sure they understand, or he hints that they understand that there's another world on the other side of this rift. So they don't really want to push off Helnarch onto this other world and cause these people to be hurt and killed and destroyed by Helnarch's presence, even if it will save them. So like it goes to show the very noble sacrifice of them, and it also makes the people in Blazar's world parallel Arc, where his planet, his universe, or his solar system, I think his entire solar system or galaxy, maybe, I don't know, is under threat, that the sun's going to explode and it'll destroy everybody, billions or trillions of lives. And in order to stop that from happening, they want to shunt off the energy into different points, and it's Lord Shizu or something like that. Anyway, that's his plan, and Earth is going to be destroyed by this, and that's how Arc came through and he's stopping him, and yada yada yada. So interesting, like the nobility of Arc, where he is coming here because he wants to stop this random backwater planet from being destroyed, sacrificing like 7 or 8 billion people as opposed to trillions of people. Like he's not willing to make that moral, like he's willing to make the moral stand against that to save the lives of few, unadvanced people, as opposed to the lives of trillions of, more advanced species or, individuals. And like, that's really cool and that's really heroic. And it's interesting that we see a parallel being made with Hoshi-Moto and Blazar's world not wanting to push Helnarch off into Yuma's world and have the same kind of, death toll or, something analogous happen, basically. And I think that's really cool. I think it's clever writing. It's like kind of getting to the core of the show, the core of what Arc is about, which is like that nobility and that like willingness to look for and find another solution, as opposed to just like sacrifice other people for your sake, kind of like out of fear and ignorance. And I think that's pretty cool. And I think I just figured out what Arc is about. If I didn't know already, this definitely like drove that point home. And I liked it. It was an entertaining episode. I liked his fight. The only thing I didn't like is that it seems pretty obvious that Yuma is Arc. Like Otherworld Ishido, Blazar Ishido, or whatever. The Ishido in Blazar's world figured it out. He said, I saw a giant being of light fall to Earth, and then I went in to investigate it, and then you were there. So, like, it's obvious that you're this Ultraman. And then he's basically talking to him, not telling him, I know you're Ultraman, but, saying it without saying it. And then eventually Yuma goes off and fights. And then, like, when he goes back to his Hoshimoto, he's been gone for 5 days, it looks like. And, like, there's a time dilation thing going on. And then somehow he and, Arc and Blazar are fighting against Bazanga, who was birthed from Helnarch and Helnarch at the same time, and it's kind of weird. Although there's that kind of retcon. Helnarch, it doesn't matter. It doesn't really matter. Anyway, we're like, yeah, they're fighting at the same time, even though the time is dilated. So, like, what does that mean? It doesn't really matter. It's more about the emotional connection we cut back between them, seeing their fights. And it's interesting that when Helnarch is destroyed in Yuma's world, then all the eggs that Bazanga had laid in, or I guess the eggs that Helnarch had laid in Blazar's world, are destroyed or taken care of or whatever. And that's, kind of a nice, convenient little way to wrap things up. But still, overall, I liked the episode, and I think it was good. It was entertaining. The fights were good. I loved seeing, at some point, he's desperate. Arc is desperate. He slams his left fist into the ground, and then the red and blue lines start going up it, because he's getting this, Arc power, or Blazar power, rather. And then he... it's interesting, he gets a little cube, like a Blazar cube, which I assume there's a toy for that, and then he's able to use his sunglass slasher thing for throwing the javelin type thing, which I mentioned earlier, and that's what kills Ultraman Arc and destroys his little egg producing thing within his body. Which again, I think the Ultraman Arc design is supposed to be like, what if Blazar and there's no notes here on the wiki. Okay, it's supposed to be like, what if Blazar and like the Valoran guy were combined into like a kaiju form? That's what I'm picking up on it, and I think that's interesting. Real quick about the people who worked on it. So Toshinozo Nemoto has done a few episodes of Arc, 5, 9, 16, and 19, The Transcending Wish, which is this one. Light of Fear was 16, I don't remember that. I guess that was the one that started off with the Mulgusion, which is the start of this arc. So it was 16, 17, 18, 19, 4 episodes. Goodbye Rin is a really cool episode. And Ocean on the Mountain Ridge, I think, was just okay. It was not like I'm super into it. He was the series composer for Macross Delta from 2016 and Log Horizon in 2013. Musical composer or like writer of turning the light novel into a series? Because I love Log Horizon. That was very cool. Anyway, that's pretty cool. And then the director is Masayoshi Takesui. And he, let's see, what did he work on with Blazar so far? He worked on, 19, 18, okay, so these Blazar episodes, You Are Givas, yes, and Message as well, Welcome to Akibono Inn, Ocean on the Mountain Ridge, and On the Kaiju's Tail, which was a cool episode, and then for Blazar he worked on 11, 12, 20, and 21, which I think Night of Tripping Insects is episode 20, Battle in the Sky is 21, let's see, Nemoto worked on those 2 episodes of Blazar as well, so maybe they're like a kind of collaborative team. Overall, a good episode of Ultraman Arc. Kind of weird because of the way it's positioning itself. Is it like wrapping things up before the end game starts? I don't really know. It could be, which would, I guess, make sense, but also just kind of an interesting way to go about it. So that's it for the review. I've been very, very busy writing. I have finished my book, Mockwing Mayhem. I'm just going through and doing some last-minute double-checking that there's no typos and things like that in there. I'm going to be developing a cover pretty soon. I'm going to be working on getting that released. What's the book about? It's about magical bugs battling monsters. If you want to know more than that, what the book is about, I can tell you in just a moment. Let's see. So here's the one-sentence pitch. Guided by their starglow, a brave band of magical warrior bugs battle sinister fiends to protect children and their own hidden world from relentless evil. And anyway, you can go to growbugs.com to learn about this book and sign up so that you can find out. You can get bonus content, a guide to the world of the Growbugs and Mockwing Mayhem, and also find out when the book is going to be released so you can check it out. If you like the way I analyze stories, you like the stories I like, I think you'll like this book because I'm trying to pour as much Tokusatsu goodness into these books as possible. And just for fun, I'll give you the back cover blurb as well. It goes like this. Sinister gremlings lurk in the shadows, always hunting for children. Only the Growbugs stand in their way. When a Mockwing, a mist-born gremling, discovers a hidden Growbug fort, it doesn't attack alone. It calls an entire flock. Now, Chirp the Bold and Quiver the Cautious find themselves in a battle they were never trained for, outnumbered and outmatched. Can they survive the Mockwing's onslaught and save their master? And even if they survive, how can 2 young Growbugs stand against an entire deadly flock?